option 2024-2025. Mike,
Yeah.
you want to go over that?
Sure. It's on a single sheet, front and back. Option 1 is, I guess, one side. Option 2 is the other side. Basically, they're built on some assumptions. Option 1, clearly difference is that the first staff development day is in the third week of school, second full week of school. The breaks are all a full week in option 1 for fall, winter, and spring break. Option 1 ends after the official holiday for Memorial Day, which is the 26th. On the back is option 2, built on a few different assumptions. The ones are the staff development day is the day before staff reports, and officially for convocation and a work day, those 2 work days, so staff development is in that day before. This particular calendar has the school year ending with the teacher work day, second to the last full week in May, on the 23rd of May on a Friday, before the federal recognition of Memorial Day. So those are the two options. Those are kind of the clear differences between them. We're required to have the board approve calendars, but there's a requirement to have a public hearing now, and the hearing and the adoption have to be 30 days apart. So based on what we hear during the hearing and over the next month, I would come back. If you'd like me to, I can make a recommendation as to which calendar at the March meeting. Or,
And then the 25, 20, is that just informational for now?
yes,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, we'll have the minutes and,
And then we go on to the 2025-2026
yeah.
school calendar.
So for the purposes of the meeting and the minutes, want to make sure that this is a separate hearing on this particular calendar. Your agenda needs to be corrected. Sorry about that. It should be 2025, 2026 in the agenda. On the one side of the exhibit is one 25-26 calendar, and same assumptions as discussed previously for the 24-25 proposed calendar. Under option 1, full weeks. Staff development day is in the third week of August. All of the vacations are a full week, fall, winter, and spring. And the calendar is out before the end of May, but not out before the recognized federal holiday for Memorial Day, which is May 25th this particular year. On the opposite side is option 2, built on similar assumptions as the option 2 for the previous year. Staff development day is first day before work days in August 8th. The fall break is a full week. The winter break is shorter. The spring break is shorter in order to capture days after Memorial Day, which is May 26th. So both the option 2 calendars, the school year ends in the calendar before the recognized federal holiday, Memorial Day. So the patterns are the same.
Need our thoughts? Is that what he's hearing about?
Yeah, I mean, as part of the hearing, is there anybody here in the audience who wants to talk about this calendar too? But
No, I mean, I looked at them, in my opinion of one of them seems very staff friendly. The one that seems very staff friendly probably has a greater impact to student learning. Whereas the other one, when you're taking full weeks off, you're not impacting student learning. Like some of these, you're in for 2 days and much student learning are we gonna do in those 2 days, right? So, I, that's, like, I don't know that I have an opinion one way or the other of like, man, I think we ought to really go with this one. But hopefully, if one's decided on versus the other, we are weighing the other impact, which could be staff impact, right? I get wanting to be off of potentially a week earlier, but also think from a student standpoint, some of those weeks where you only have 2 days, especially coming back from Christmas
Yeah.
break and you've got a Thursday, Friday on here, like, are we really doing what's in the best interest of our students? So if you're having conversations with staff on that and bringing up the pros and cons to those, that's all I'd really ask for. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you which one.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, we've got our constituent from the office right over there would like to speak.
Just 2 doors down.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that the professional development, sometimes when it's done before school starts, teachers' minds are more on getting ready for kids. And I would like to make sure that that first PD, if you think about it, after we've gotten started and what can we work on, is also much more conducive to getting to our goals.
Any other comments?
Well, this is brought to you as part of a discussion since I've been here. I've had regular discussions about calendars with staff, so I'll certainly relay the comments which are consistent with some of the discussion that has occurred already.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the local Union-Thurston Board of Education. It's Monday, February the 12th, 2024. Roll call, Ms. Warrior.
Ms. Cato,
Here.
Mr. Hookrattle.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here.
Mr. Shook.
Here.
Dr. Waller.
Here.
Can you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we don't have any recognition, correct?
That's correct.
We're going right into refreshments.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, we'll take a quick break for refreshments. Continuing the meeting. Item F, we have public participation at board meetings. And at all of our board meetings, we set aside time for public to address any concerns. Do I see any? Seeing none, we're moving on to department presentation. Joe Pearden, Maintenance Department update.
Evening, thanks for having me. Get this little quickly works here. Oh, you already got me there. You know me, I like show and tells, we'll always bring the picture. This right here is, back in early spring. This is north of the high school parking lot, the main parking lot. East of the softball field. There used to be a huge hole there, and lots of trees. I missed the real early pictures, but you can still see a few of the trees there. So what we done was we used this area to, for some reason there was a berm in the bottom. Down in the bottom of the pit, there was a berm there. So we decided we'd remove all the trees. And this was, the whole high school parking lot is basically on field. So it's all concrete. So basically the old locker room, it's in that hole now. And you can see to the left there how big the hole was. We filled it all in. And then the dirt on the top is actually the dirt that we removed for the basement of the new locker room. This is a little project we had to do at the elementary school. This is up on the little power pad up on top of the library. The drive it around this thing failed on us and we started having leaks inside the library. So we had that redone. That was early March timeframe, I guess. This here's a little addition we did on the greenhouse. Top left is where we formed it, put the perma columns in. Top right is where we poured the pad. The cinnamon in the bottom is the finished product. This here's when we started on the new locker room on May 1st. This is where we started pulling the asphalt off, getting the area really cleaned up, getting the footers out from the old locker room. And then we run into a problem. A problem that our geotechnical engineer had never seen before. I couldn't get the video on here, but we have a video of us walking across the soil, and it looks like you're walking on a trampoline. It just moves like this. So this is the start of us excavating the old sandy silt. So what the engineer made us do was overdig it. Some of it is by 2 feet, some of it's by 4 feet, some of it's by 8 feet, 8 feet deep. The circles there in the bottom right is the large areas that we excavated out and filled back in. You can see the one on the left there, that was an 8-foot deep hole. That's where the footer went. Even though we did all the over digging, we still hit some silt when we started digging the footers. So called the geotechnical engineer back out. They made it. That one's 8 feet. The one on the right hand side there, that one's 8 feet as well, and that one's about 40 feet long. So we had to over dig it and then fill it with what's called K-Crete, basically just cement and water. Here's where the poured walls that actually come up out of the ground. I was pretty happy when that happened. Well, let me see here. This is on the top left. That's where they're setting the precast, which is the floor between the first floor and the second floor. Same thing on the right there. On the left, after all the precast was set, then we had to have a 4-inch cap. What turned out to be a 4-inch cap poured over the whole thing. All lasered. Here's where we started framing the second floor. Pretty self-explanatory there. At the inside walls, that's on the second floor. Trusses down on the bottom right. I've never done this before, but the architect required us to do spray foaming on the exterior of the building. And the reason for that was he wanted to insulate the block on the poured walls on the bottom for the first floor. And he didn't want to insulate it on the inside and take away from space on the inside of the rooms. So we had to put these little Z channels mount them on the building all the way around, and then a company out of Kentucky come up and spray foamed it. And it pretty much like an igloo cooler. There's no air or anything that comes through. I mean, it's sealed off. The bottom right there, that's the way it looks right now today. You can see the HVAC companies in doing their stuff. I didn't get a whole lot of I didn't get any pictures in here of the inside, but the interior walls in the basement are all done. We changed those to block. And the reason we changed them to cinder block is we all know in this room that that's going to flood at some point. Maybe once every 15 years, maybe once every 20, but it's going to have a foot of water in it. So the way we redesigned it is now all we have to do when that happens is go in and power wash everything out and throw some fans in, we're ready to go. All the electrics up out of the way, there'll be nothing that'll be damaged. If we would have framed it, stud framed it and put drywall on it, then that would have been a different story. This is a little project we did at the middle school last summer for the Gaga pit there. It kind of didn't have a home. So this area that we poured this concrete in is between the building and the basketball court. Put turf down, put the Gaga pit on it. I think it turned out pretty good. Every time I look out there, there's kids all around it. It's another little project we took on this is in the middle school. The left picture is there is where we had the floors redone. The right side is also where we had the floors redone, but you can see the sinks. The sinks that are over there are not very maintenance friendly. We'll put it that way. They're of a concrete design, and they have motion sensors on them. And these things were made in the United Kingdom, same as the ones that's in the high school, and we can't get parts for them. And when we do get parts for them, they're outrageous. And when I mean outrageous, one sensor is like $400. So we're converting them. We're pulling them all out. We're going to a regular composite and normal faucets. If the faucet goes out or whatnot, it's a $100 item, and we can move on. This is the restroom floors at the high school. All the tile floors were starting to show signs of wear, significant wear. So we had a company, we removed all the stalls, everything out of the room, painted the rooms, and then we had a company come in and they acid washed the floors, and then they put a sealer over, a colored sealer over all the grout lines, and then they sealed the whole floor over the top. We're not supposed to have to touch these floors for 5 years, and then at 5 years they come in and at a fraction of the cost, they touch them up, and then we're good for another 5. This is a restroom that we built in the Patty George building. When we tore the old locker room down, and that left the Patty George and the weight room without any running water, without any facilities. So we went into the corner, since we already had the tap feed for the sewer, and we built a restroom in there and just tapped back into the same sewer line that the old locker room was in. It also gave us the ability to do a custodial closet in the back of it, so that now we can run auto scrubbers and all that kind of stuff in the Patty George building. There you go. There's a good example. This is in the middle school as well. The sinks on the top left there, that's the old sinks, the sinks that came with the building, and then as well as the tan beige floors, and then the bottom right is the new sinks with the new floor. And this is at the high school. The old skylights in the library gave out on us last winter. If you look real close, you can see in the skylights in the corners there, you can see little dark shadows. That's tape. We had to put tape across those. There were 1/4-inch gaps in those skylights where they had just split over time from the, different seasons, the freeze and thaw. So we had a company come in and remove them. They steel decked it, insulated over the top of it, and then they put the same roof membrane, single membrane over the top of it. We still have to go in. We have to drywall the bottom, do something with the bottom of it. This was another little small project that we got tangled up in. This was an addition to the front of the stage in the auditorium. Still not completely done with it, but top left shows the framing of it. Bottom right shows that the front's somewhat finished. We're looking at doing a stage coating over the whole stage, so that's why there's no finish on the top of what's new. This is actually the softball field. We're supposed to start the baseball field this week. This is where, just over the course of a season, from dragging the fields and whatnot, things get worn that shouldn't be worn. Brick dust ends up where it shouldn't be. This is just showing after we pulled our strings back for the radius of the infield to outfield, you can see where it's just kind of off a little bit. This is what happens when we edge it. It gives that nice, clean, crisp line. It prevents us from getting a hump, where people take the ball to the face. Keeps everything nice and flat. Keeps everything the way it's supposed to be. We also took and regraded the whole infield and then rolled it. You can see we rolled the whole field. You can see the blades on the grass there laid down pretty good. So that field there should be ready to go. Like I said, baseball field, we'll start it this week, as long as we don't get rain. This is up between the softball and the baseball field. It's a little area up there that we never did get to do anything with it, but we got it landscaped now. That's pretty self-explanatory. This is our future projects. We still have the paving around the Patty George in front of the new building, and then in behind the grandstands. As far as we still have a lot of parking areas that need repairs. We have a set of steps that's going in over by the softball field where the sandstones are right now. Visitor bullpens for both the softball and baseball field. We have 4 bleacher pads we're going to pour at the middle school. So we have bleachers we're going to take down, move, pour the pads, and then reinstall the bleachers. We also have a new set of bleachers that's out there now that we're going to install. We still have the theater and the land lab. And then we're going to construct leadership stations in the land lab. Kind of like out at the FFA camp. We're going to build a new press box in between the soccer and football fields over at the middle school. And then we still have 2 restrooms, 2 gang restrooms at the middle school that we want to replace the sinks and redo the floors in there as well. And then at the high school, we've got 1 restroom done, which is there at the cafeteria. We want to continue that and do the gang restroom upstairs this summer. The fuel pump shelter. So some things come up about the fuel pump station back here at the back. There's no lighting, so certain times of the year, you can't really see what you're doing. Got a propane station out there, so that's how this thing all originated, was to put lights out there. And then it turned into, well, what about just build a shoulder across there? We put lights underneath it, do explosion-proof lighting, and then we would then create a shelter for bus drivers standing out there fueling up their vehicles. I don't think that's going to be a big project numbers-wise. That's something we're looking at to do this summer. We've already run that through Casey. Did all the requirements there. This is a second sheet that I didn't get on there. So we built the engineering room over at the high school, and we removed all the home ec equipment. So we still have that floor in there that we need to repair. We need to downsize. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but next to the elevator, right in that hallway, the flooring's starting to kind of turn colors there, and that's due to moisture. On the other side of that wall, there's a large exhaust duct that runs and goes through the roof. And that large exhaust duct used to carry the 4 really large hot water heaters that we had, as well as the 2 boilers. Well, now the only thing that's going in there is the 2 boilers. It's not, it's just condensating. Condensates all winter, and then all that moisture just runs down in that block. We still have the athletic field at the middle school on the books, and repair sidewalks district-wide. We now have a makeup area unit in the elementary school we're going to have to replace. And we now have approximately 80 to 90 feet of main sewer in the high school that we're still going to have to attend with. That's all I got. Any questions?
Well, just a little bit more on the sewer issue we had last week. I mean,
Sure.
Can you kind of fill us in exactly what you guys found and what was the
Sure.
culprit?
I left those out on purpose. I do have pictures if you want to see. Let's see them. So a couple of things happened. On the nurse's side, when you walk in the east doors, there's a manhole right there to the right. That takes care of the admin offices and the locker room on that end. So the nurse, we came in, the first thing that happened was Saturday, got the phone call that the athletic hallway was flooded. So we go over and get the water shut off and get that all cleaned up. And then Monday morning, pulled the toilet and we pulled like a 5-gallon bucket of baby wipes. I'll call it baby wipes out of it. Cleared all those, put that back together, everything worked like a champ. Then I get a phone call from Kathy that we have sewer coming out of floor drains in the cafeteria bathrooms. Okay, so I go over and sure enough, shooting up out of the floor drains about like that. Well, come to find out, over in front of the art room, there's another manhole. So those 2 restrooms run down the south hallway, like you're going out to the greenhouse, and then makes a 90-degree turn, goes through the art room, picks up the art room, and just out the side of the building, there's another manhole. Now, that one's full of wipes and shop rags, vapes. Can't remember what else was in there? Oh, yeah, clay from the art room. It just, I mean, you couldn't even see the pipe coming out of the building. That's where it started. So we cleaned this. They jetted it, got it working. Then all of a sudden, the custodial sink wasn't working. Tuesday, everything worked. We had that one day where everything was great. Wednesday morning, I get a call that the custodial sink, the slop sink is backed up and it's overflowing in the custodial room. So we go over, we snake it out, we jet it out, everything's working. And an hour later, I get a phone call that it's all clogged up again. So what happened was, on Monday, when we kept running the snake and the jetter and the camera and all that stuff back and forth through this 90-foot piece of pipe, that's 50 years old, they kept flaking off the inside of it. All the rust just kept flaking off and flaking off and flaking off. Well then, when we jetted it out of the custodial sink, it collapsed and filled in with pea gravel, which is, the gravel that's around the pipe. So they come back out and they kept jetting and jetting and they couldn't figure out what it was. And finally they run the camera and saw that it had collapsed. That's the long story and the short version. So, dug it up, repaired that piece of pipe, put two cleanouts in it, one going each direction, tied in the custodial sink again, and we're good for now. But we really need to have that pipeline. It needs to be lined and then we'll be good. Because at any given moment, there could be if it gets clogged up again, we run one more jetter or one more snake, it could collapse somewhere else. But they make a lining that you put down through this thing, it's an epoxy lining, fills it up, and you've got an eighth inch, basically pipe inside a pipe there.
Where will you need to dig? Like, if you go to replace this thing, will you have to do more excavating of the floor, or will you be able to?
If we can get it sleeved. We may only have to dig in one more place, and that'll be where it drops in the main outside the art room. And then they'll just shove it through each direction, and that's why he did a clean out going both directions, and so you can go from there. So probably not a whole lot more, but if it collapses, it runs from the middle of the hall, outside the art room, all the way to the server line. And it's about 5 foot deep.
In your opinion, should it get done, should it be done now?
I think we should leave it as soon as possible. Because if we don't sleeve it as soon as possible, we're talking about a fraction of the cost. Or, my best guess, don't hold me nothing, 20,000 or less. Let's go 25,000 less to sleeve it. But if we have to saw cut that up and dig it, you're talking probably 150 grand to saw cut that 90 foot, 100 foot of hallway and pull all that out.
How long would it take you to sleeve it?
I'm working on quotes now. As soon as I get more information, I'll feed it to Dr. Johnson, he can put it out. It's just, I'm afraid to say that trying to get people to commit to work is almost impossible right now. If you can even get them to come quote it. So I'm working on quotes. I should have 3 or 4 quotes probably by the end of the week. We'll go from there. And I'll have timelines then on what all we gotta do. We look at it maybe over spring break. See what happens there. And I have the video of the inside of the pipe too, if anybody wants to look at that, see what the condition of it. Pipe. But it's just, you see all the rust.
We've already spent 36,000.
That's why they call it a rainy day fund, right? Fortunately, the rain was inside.
A lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Discussion and approval of the minutes of the regular and the organizational board minutes from January the 8th, 2024. Okay, discussion?
They're an addition. They're a separate document.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a motion by Sean Schiff,
I'll say.
second by Sean Tuckrattle, to approve the minutes of the regular and organizational meeting of the Union-Thurston Board of Education held on January 8th, 2024, as printed. Ms. Boyer?
Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Wall.
Yes.
Monthly financial statements, Ms. Boyer?
Okay, you have our monthly financial report. And you can go to page 4. That's our monthly revenue analysis for January. The largest differences from last January is local taxes are up $813,620 over last year, and our interest income is up $136,866 over last year. On page 6, our monthly expenditure analysis. Our expenditures in total for the same time period last year are 2.4% higher. You would expect that, that's about normal. Then page 8 is our interest, and it's almost at 33,000. That just always makes me happy. Page 9 is the percent of the year. We're at 58% of the year, and the percentages on how we receive the income and how we spend it. Our personnel and purchase services are a little lower than we anticipated, but we still have a 3-month pay that'll come up in May. Page 10 is our income tax. This is the third quarter, the income tax payment. So then I give you the amounts that we had each year before that for just 3 quarters. And then the blue section shows the difference each year. This year, we're $290,000 $125.53 higher in collections than last year.
Just real quick, on the previous page, on page 9,
Yes,
revenue, so it looks like property, we're 58% of the way through the year, but only collected at 44%. Is that just a timing thing more than anything else?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
On that page 10, is it, I know it's like 2022, 2024 are somewhat similar. That 2023 is a big difference. Is that just kind of a,
Well, it was kind of because of COVID.
was that, okay.
And then next you have our bank reconciliation. And there's nothing to say about that. Then you have our changes in appropriations for the 018 200s and 300s. Then we have, I skipped the bills. I'm sorry.
So do you have anything in the middle?
Yes, I do. Just picked up the wrong one next. Okay, so the bills. Page 3. Out in the middle, check 102110 to Air Force One for, let's see, $23,828.50. That was for the high school condenser replacement, and that came out of our classroom facilities maintenance fund. And then on page 7, down towards the bottom, check 102222, Sightlines Athletic Facilities for $26,446. That's for middle school bleachers, football, and that came from the general fund. Page 8, towards the top middle, 102235, Yellowbrook Masonry, $24,890. That was for first floor block walls in the new locker room, and that came from the general fund. And then on page 9, in the middle, 102259 to KTLB for $17,239. That was for Prime Tours, and that's for the Pennsylvania trip, and that came from the Student Activity Fund, the DC Trip Fund. And then you have the appropriations and our donations. And the donations, $52 were miscellaneous donations from the staff jeans to the high school principal, $2.78 for Kroger Rewards to high school principal, $60 Fairfield County Egg Society for their fair display to FFA, $3,000 South Central Power Company Roundup grant to middle school backpacks for buddies, $730 miscellaneous donations to the high school musical. The rest of these will be high school musical. $100 from Roger Schrader, $500 from David Brookover, $380 from Andrew and Rachel Thomas, $200 from Christopher and Kristen Kennedy, $250 from Chad and Katie Ensley, and $265 from Stacy Bittler and Jeremy Shy. And that's what I have.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the monthly financial statement?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Moore, second by Dr. Walter, to approve the monthly financial statements as
Mr. Hookrattle,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Walter,
Yes.
Ms. Cato.
Yes. Permanent appropriations for fiscal year 2024. School year to Dr. Johnson, did you want to add anything to that?
The $138,500 to the general fund, that's taking in the landscaping between the fields, middle school bleachers, and some other repairs that we're working on. The $200,000 into the 034 classroom facility maintenance, that's to help take care of some of the repairs that Joe was talking about. And then we have $360.97, that's just an adjustment from ODEW. And then the 80,000 is also permanent improvement to help with.
Item B, in lieu of transportation costs for the 2023-2024 school year, by resolution of the Liberty Union-Thurston Local Board of Education, is declared impractical and unreasonable financial burden to provide student transportation by school bus to private and parochial schools outside the Liberty Union-Thurston Local School District. The board authorizes the treasurer to provide in lieu payment to the parent guardian of the students attending these entities for the 2023-2024 school year. So we have parent Tim and Melissa Cryle, their 3 children, one going to Fisher Catholic and the other 2 going to St. Mary's. Service provider, New Business Financial, we have Tyler Technologies, 2023-2024 school year student transportation software. Fee is $372 annual fee and a software and service fee of $8,312. Walsworth yearbooks, 2024-25 school year, the high school yearbook printing, fee of $9,870. And Walsworth yearbooks, 2024-25 middle school yearbook printing for a fee of $2,947.36. Do I have a motion to approve new business financials?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Schiff, second by Mr. Hookrattle to approve the new business financial. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Walter,
Yes.
Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle.
Yes.
Student wellness and success funds.
That would be me.
Ms. Boyer?
Yes, okay, so they have another requirement now with the student wellness and success funds that I have to discuss and let you know what's going on with it. So in fiscal year 2020, the governor pulled our money, part of our state funding, and he gave it back to us in Fund 467, Student Success and Wellness. We had to find a partner to plan our use of the funds. We partnered with the Fairfield County ESC. The money was mainly spent on our counselors at that time and now. In fiscal year 2023, it was moved back to the general fund and we don't need to use Fund 467 for that anymore, but we have to still track it, so it's in the general fund. In fiscal year 23, we received $106,155.09. We spent all of that plus more for our high school and middle school counselors. In the current school year, 2024, the governor decided we now have to have 2 partners to discuss this with the board on how we're spending the money. So now we're partnered with the Fairfield County ESC and Children's Hospital. We're supposed to receive $211,051.75 this year. And then we plan on using it to pay for our guidance counselors. As of February 9, 2024, we've spent $168,659.41 for the guidance counselors. If at some point we get more money or we don't spend as much on the guidance counselors, then the money can roll to the next year and get spent. That's what I have.
New business personnel, employment. We have James White, custodian at the elementary and middle school, custodian salary scale, step 0, year 1, probationary period per OPSI article 8.01, if I'm reading that right with my contacts. Effective pending positive background report. 6.01, thank you. Certified substitutes. We have a list of about 8 people there. That's Lilo, Jules Siri, Jamie Limbert, Sarah Serval, Jared Mackey, Shannon Walter, Stephanie Packer, and Sally Watson. Classified substitute list. We have Patricia Hendershot and Marion Lockhart. 2023-2024 supplementals. We have Joe Palmer.
We have a vote first.
Oh, we
Oh,
do?
I'm sorry. No,
Yeah.
you're good.
Okay.
That goes next.
Then we have building is the district, Joe Palmer, He's a mentor, Robert Kirk, year 3. So we've got level 6, step 0. And then we have Jessica Bulby, mentor for Alina Miller, 3
We have a
years.
name change on that,
Yes,
wrong name,
wrong name?
yeah, Jessica Birch,
For
Bowlby,
Bulby, Birch.
it's Jessica Birch.
Thank you. And that would be level 6, step 0. Do I have a motion to approve?
So,
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Shook, second by Dr. Walter, to approve the items in the new business personnel section. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Shook,
yes.
Dr. Walter, Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle,
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
New business athletics. So we have the athletic supplementals for the school year 2023-2024. These are all for spring. We have Coach Joe Holland, baseball 7th grade volunteer coach. Level and step are not applicable. We have Nathan Hutchison, baseball 8th grade volunteer coach. Level and step are not applicable. Brian Thomas, baseball 8th grade volunteer coach, also level and steps are not applicable. Elise, am I saying that right? Elise Looney, softball JV coach to share with D. Llewellyn, and that would be level 3, step 0. We have Joe Palmer, track varsity assistant coach for the girls, level 3, step 0. And we have Scott Williamson, track varsity girls volunteer coach. And those are both level and steps not applicable. Athletic donations, we have donation from LUABC concession work for $255. That's for the STALT student athletics. That's all for that. We have the OHSAA membership for 2024-2025. And that membership contract period is for that school year. It's an annual membership of $900 for 18 teams. Then we have D, resolution ratifying change order to agreement with Howard's Plumbing LLC for plumbing portion of the locker room and concession building project. The superintendent requests the board ratify the execution of the change order number 1 to the agreement with Howard's Plumbing LLC for the plumbing portion of the locker room and concession building project. Got anything to add to that, Dr. Johnson?
I don't.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve athletics?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Walter, second by Mr. Moore, to approve the items under new business athletics section. Ms. Boyer?
Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle,
Abstain.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Walter.
Yes.
A resolution approving the invoice. Treasurer recommends approval of the following for ORC 5705.41D1. We have Aseptic Services, Inc., $36,000. Our purchase order number is 493757. Write that down. From the 034 Classroom Facilities Maintenance. Date of the invoice was February 6th of this year. What we purchased was the high school emergency plumbing repairs we discussed earlier in the meeting. 2024 OSBA board membership goals. Do I have 2 volunteers, one to be the legislative liaison and one to be the student achievement liaison? And this is, and April, you said this is for?
This would be the same thing that we have been doing in July or August.
So this is for the meeting in November
Right.
at OSBA.
Well, the 2 people in charge are usually who do that. I'm nominating both you two.
I'm gonna write that down. I can't wait. I will write that down, bud.
I want to be able to talk a little when I need some water.
Yeah.
Choke.
Yeah, you are gonna choke. I will write that down. Did you guys all hear that out there? He said whoever's sitting here will be one of those 2 liaisons. Note that when he's sitting in one of these 2 seats, because he has yet to attend one of them. So duly noted via Mr. Shook. Sean with a W, Shook. Got it. Which do you want to do?
It doesn't matter.
It
to
doesn't
me.
matter.
Okay, we'll let you do the legislative.
I heard everything.
I know, I was trying to say
and then I
about
will
it.
do the student achievement.
Mhm.
Moving on to disposal. We have the outside freezer
Bill, did you say
at the
something?
middle school.
We hadn't got into it in a while. It's on. The jinx.
Outside freezer at the middle school, quantity 1 unit is approximately 12 years old, serial number 4100555730A. It is not working, as beyond repair. No scrap value, remove and dispose of unit. Resolution to authorize OSBA to review policies in light of the HB 33 legislative changes impacting OSBA and State Board of Education. So, and this has to do with the law that was signed by Governor DeWine on July 3rd of 2023.
So this resolution, what it means is, should you pass it, allows us to make all the changes in the titles that are in current policy to the new titles that are in the new organization at the State Department without coming back to the board for first and second reading.
Then we, this would be second reading of AFC 2R, also known as GCN 2R, evaluation of professional staff, administrators and supervisors. Second reading on GCE, part-time and substitute professional staff employment. Second reading on GCPD, suspension and termination of professional staff members. Second reading on IGBEA, reading skills assessment intervention, third grade reading guarantee. Do I have a motion to approve?
Well, I'm sorry, I have a question on,
Sure.
I'm still reading.
That's it.
Yeah, no, on JCE, so will we no longer, because one of the things that's been struck is candidates select are recommended to the board for placement on the list. So will the Board of Education no longer be approving substitute teachers?
No, you'll be reading. Yeah, I think you have to approve everybody that we pay.
All right, because that's struck in red. Candidates selected are recommended to the board for placement on the list of approved substitutes.
Still coming your way.
Okay.
This policy change recommended by,
By OSBA?
yeah.
Okay.
But we can't compensate anybody unless you approve them.
So should that not be stricken, or is it, because I know how some of these work, where it's like GCD before it has it there, so then in
It's
GCE,
somewhere else.
it's somewhere else, and it's just being stricken for its particular.
Under state law, you can't hire anybody.
Sean, I think that's saying that, it's striking that the board selects the substitutes for the buildings and it assumes the responsibility to the principal. With you guys still approve them. Okay. We just, as principals, would select those substitutes to work in our building. On
Maybe.
your list.
Yeah, 'cause it's not.
Yeah, they're gonna place them, but this just says that they're selected, recommended. So, okay. As long as we're still approving them, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Moore. Do I have a second?
I'll second that one.
Second by Mr. Hookrattle to approve items in the new business other section. Ms. Boyer?
Mr. Hooprattle,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Walter,
Yes.
Ms. Cato.
Yes. Board policy first reading. We have DH, bonded employees and officers. We have DJB, petty cash accounts. We have CM cash in school buildings. We have GCB1, professional staff contracts and compensation plans on teachers. We have IGD, co-curricular and extracurricular activities. These are all still first reading. IGDJ, interscholastic athletics. KGB, public conduct on district properties. That is all for the first readings. Do I have any other matters that may come before the board?
I just had one question on the interscholastic one.
Yeah.
We struck the word academic.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we, that doesn't make sense to me.
I was gonna.
Where are you?
Yeah.
I'm on page 21, and it's the second paragraph, and it's the red. We struck the word.
It's also in the IGD, it's in the co-curricular, the one before that too. Yeah, and it's the same thing, it struck out academic right in front of the non-academic.
Yeah, but we don't have, like, because they have to now just fulfill the same non-academic and financial requirements as any other student. So are we saying that students that are home instructed no longer need to fulfill academic requirements as any other participants? Ooh, boy.
There's two different worlds going on right now between those that are at home school and other than public schools and where we are. So, the number of credits that they have to take, the grades and so forth, I would imagine that the athletic association, which is a different entity, is still going to rule over that. I don't think we can have an ineligible player or have an eligible player can only be eligible if they pass the high school athletic rules, which is a whole different entity. But whether they take the number of credits and those other academic kind of things, but I still believe that they can't be eligible unless they meet the high school athletic association
Well,
rules.
and this is just first reading, right?
Right.
Can we get, I mean, I'd like to maybe get Janet's
Okay.
take on that too, is that, kind of see if she can maybe speak to that a little bit too. Because I think I share your concerns, it's like, I want to make sure that there's the same onus on these kids that are,
Yeah, and if OHSAA requirements are lower than what our requirements are, what I don't want to have happen is students decide to become homeschooled so that they can get worse grades, in theory, and then not align with our standards. And that's a workaround for eligibility. I just want to make sure. Okay, cool.
All right, an executive session is requested by the superintendent. For what items are they, Dr. Johnson?
Let's see, A, 2, and E.
And 7.
What?
7, A7. What we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah,
so that
And
was
you said
that.
Edith and Edward.
yes.
Okay. So do I have a motion to move into executive session for the A, 2, and 7, and E?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Hookredder, second by Dr. Walder to go into executive session at 8:01 p.m. Roll call.
Mr. Shook,
Yes.
Dr. Walter, Ms. Cato,
Yes.
Mr. Hookrattle,
Yes.
and Mr. Moore.